Our first series for Monday Night Starbone, number 9, is going to be a PvT. In the top right corner on Circuit Breaker, we have Fen playing the pink Protoss player. And the top left, playing his second straight $25 open for Midnight Starbow, your blue Terran player, MorroW. Get this up and going. We are going to be having best of 5s, so that's something to be excited about. Just like last week, we'll have 3 best of 5s. Maybe we'll have 15 games to cast. Oh my word, I will need more water. So PvT, actually a matchup that I am familiar with because I do play Protoss, so hopefully I can give you some decent analysis for this game. Not too much going to be happening here in the early game. Just going to see the usual builds. Nobody going for anything too cheesy. Here on Circuit Breaker, with these sort of positions, you're going to see likely the Protoss player going to be expanding south from his base. So he'll be expanding down this direction, maybe taking a distant base. It is a very large map, so that can definitely favor the more mobile player. But there are quite a few chokes around the thirds and fourths. So it being choky can help out a Terran player going back with those tanks. It can be pretty hard for Protoss to break in across this area here with these ramps. Though this third, if the Terran were to take it, expanding towards the Protoss, could be pretty exposed as well. I haven't actually seen Fen play before. As I was mentioning before the cast started, I believe he was pretty involved in Starbow maybe a while back. I don't really remember him. So it might have been before it blew up and got big back in January. But he was a pretty prominent player, and supposedly he's pretty good, from what I've been told. First factory coming down from MorroW. So seeing the standard play here. It does have 3 SCVs and gas, so might be going for a pretty tank-heavy build to begin with. Or we might see something, a quick tech up to Starport. Still always a possibility. Not necessarily something you see extremely often, but you see it well enough with Banshee rushes and that sort of thing in TVP. Can be difficult for Protoss to deal with if they're not prepared for it. Tech Lab finishing up. Probe's going to get picked off. But he does see the factory coming up, and he sees the Tech Lab as well, so he can assume that barracks and refinery swap barracks and factory swap, is going to take place. In the meantime, we do see Fen is going for some aggressive Stalker play in the beginning. Not looking to take an expansion. He does have his Twilight Council, and he's getting the Stalker range upgrade, that duality charge, which increases the Stalker range by 2. While MorroW has started up on his siege tech here. So MorroW is going for a quick command center, and this can be pretty tough to hold if you are going for a relatively fast expansion. This isn't what I'd call a very fast expansion, though, so he might be able to hold it. He is MorroW after all. But quick blink plays can punish expanding player if they find themselves having to defend multiple locations. As it is right now, some of these Stalkers are going to arrive to MorroW's base long before that expansion is finished. MorroW's got a tank in pretty good position here as well. Stalkers do very, very poorly against tanks. So, and MorroW's going to get the full scout off here. He's going to see everything that's happening, so he knows what to expect. Sees the first Stalker, sees the 2 gate, no expansion coming down. So, MorroW should be able to deal with this relatively well. Got 1 tank going to come over here and poke away. Fen should be able to get a few workers, but it's going to be tough for him to get out of there. And there goes the siege tank shot. Will he manage? He does manage to keep one of his Stalkers alive. So, gets a few probes, loses 1 Stalker. Overall, pretty even exchange. By probes, I mean SCVs. MorroW's going to go ahead and get his expansion up and throw down a bunker here. MorroW's also going to check and see if Fen might be trying to take a hidden expansion. He's not, but Fen is going to go ahead and expand behind this and see what else he can get done here in the front. Stalkers need to be careful. They can't take more than one siege tank shot or they'll be gone. They're a medium unit, and they only have 120 health. So for those explosive shots from the siege tank should give them about, well, I don't really know if I want to do the math right now. Plenty of damage. Let's see if he can get his stalkers out of here this time. I don't think he's going to be able to, but he is going to be able to get a lot more SCV kills. Wow. He picks up another 7 SCVs. That was definitely worth it. I think he only lost 3 or 4 of his stalkers there. Got 7 SCVs. Worker count is actually very even right now, 21 to 20. And Fen is getting up his Nexus and is starting to transition into Dragoons. He's also getting Dragoon range. Vulture's just now starting. So MorroW, very fortunate that he was going into tanks quickly and not going into Vultures right away, because Vultures will not deal with the Stalkers as well as the tanks do. One misrallied Stalker here going to go down. And MorroW might be able to siege up outside of Fen's. Yeah, he's going to be able to get right on top of his natural, and this could be really difficult for Fen to deal with. He doesn't quite have the units out yet to deal with this kind of push. We'll be able to take down one of the tanks. Has lost a Dragoon. And the siege has begun. And unfortunately, his Nexus is already done. He can't cancel this now. He's starting on his Robo. I don't know if he's looking to go into any sort of Reavers or just wants to get out the detection. Mines are almost finished, although MorroW did just lose one of his Vultures, so he's not going to have too many mines available. And he's going to start that Warp Prism. Okay. Smart play here. Going to try to get some Zealot Bombs down on these tanks. But that Warp Prism is not going to be out in time to save this Nexus. This Nexus is definitely going to go down. There's no way he can save this. Has no detection to deal with these mines. Tanks are in a really good position. Now MorroW's just going to go ahead and back on out of here. Very smart thing to do. He's extremely far ahead of his opponent now. 40 workers to 22. If he goes home, just plays it safe here, he can just macro up on 2 bases and go for a really big push and end it. And unfortunately, Fen also supply blocked here. Does have a pylon finishing up right now. Does clean up the mines. Does have some units here. So this is a situation where Fen honestly needs to make something happen right now if he wants to stay in this game. He's going to go ahead and try to re-expand. And MorroW, knowing that the Prism is out, has started to work on getting a few Goliaths out. So he only has 1 right now. So go ahead and start working on those vehicle upgrades. And I'm going to try to get some turrets in his base. Doesn't want Prism to ruin his day. As I said before, MorroW just needs to play it safe here for the next few minutes. He has a very commanding lead. As long as he can keep himself in a good economic position for a while here, he's going to find himself way ahead of his Protoss player. Protoss going Gateway against Mech really needs to have an economic advantage on the Terran player. Generally wants to have more bases. So being even or behind in bases as Fen is right now is a very rough position for him. In the meantime, these Vultures are going to be able to get around the map and do whatever they want. Vulture speed just beginning, so they are slow right now, but here in about a minute or so, he'll have speed and start zipping around the map. I believe the Vultures do have 80 health again, right? Yes, they do. So they can take an additional Dragoon shot that they weren't able to take before. That recent change. So, gonna just look around, try to find some a third base from a Protoss player. Plant those annoying mines that make it impossible to expand. Fen is sending a probe out right now. Actually, he's on an attack command. That's interesting. Probe going to try to get a scout off here, using that phase shield ability to avoid any automatic fire from the turrets. Let's see what he can see there. Let's just get a check on what kind of unit count MorroW is at. Doesn't see a whole lot, but has at least a little bit of information. And MorroW's going to start slow pushing over toward this third. So he's going to want to try to just take that third here. He does have a command center ready to go ahead and drop down there. Fen just now beginning his attack upgrades for his ground units. And trying to get back in the economic arms race, but he is down by 23 harvesters right now. Starport on the way for MorroW, so MorroW has started to really climb up that tech tree. He's going to want to start getting out Science Muscles most likely for EMP. Great spell, especially against Protoss. Fen has started to get the robotic support base, so that could be for Reavers. It could just be looking to get some Warp Prism speed upgrade. But Reavers are never a bad thing to have. Although, he might not have the chance now. MorroW's mech army is right here on the doorstep. And this is going to take some really nice micro. See if the Warp Prism can get in. Starting to be target fired down by the Goliath. He only gets one Zealot out. He really needed to have all of those Zealots land in order to try to have any hope of cleaning that up. And that'll be GG from Fen. MorroW takes game number 1.